Starting off, I want to ask you a little bit about, I guess, defensive personnel. As you guys kind of progress through the season, and you kind of assess how guys are improving, and who are some of the guys on defense who you feel like have really made a lot of progress in the past, 6 weeks or whatever?
I think a lot of our performances holistically have been, there's been improvements and then it's been inconsistent. But I thought even I probably should have brought some of the grades with me on this one, but I thought Gavin Potter played a better game than things that we had talked to him about addressing. I think Kyron Johnson continues to be very steady, as well as Kenny Logan. I think there's parts of our corners that show flashes, and then there's the thing that we keep trying to strive is playing better with our hands, trying to keep leverage better. A lot of this has to still go back to confidence and playing faster with confidence, and we're not there yet, and we keep striving for that. I'm not just going to go off last week's game, but again, Taiwan Berryhill's a guy that shows that he can be a productive linebacker with his size and speed. I go inside with Caleb Sampson's been very steady for us, battling through injuries. Um, so I mean, those are some of the ones that kind of come. The young play of you know. Jacoby Bryan shows flashes again, and that's and as well as we talked about OJ in here last week. Um, when I get to some of those guys, Romello Dotson and things like that, we've got a fair amount of guys that are getting on the job training. Okay, and that could be good, and that's when you recruit and talk about opportunities, but also with that there can be growing pains, and I think we have that on both sides of the ball.
And with the young guys, you kind of mentioned, that can be good. It's good for the future, right? And that's
Yeah,
part of the
well,
balance you
that's what
guys
you
try to
want.
find.
That's bad, but you can't just keep playing for the future all the time, and that'll be a conversation down the road. We understand that. um, but yeah, and you have to keep building depth and competition, the things we've also talked about on a weekly basis, and so that you develop the consistency in your weekly routine, and preparation, take care of yourself, all the things that we need to do in the weight room as well, and you slowly start piecing it together. um, Holistically, there are improvements in our program being made, but I'm just like all of you, our fans, our players, our staff, is that disappointed and frustrated that it's not being reflective really at all on the scoreboard. So, and we go back to what we've always said, even before we played a game, is all we ask them to do is control the things they can and work to get better, be coachable. And that's one good thing that we've been able to do.
In what ways do you all want to see Jason Bean improve as a passer? I guess in the Big 12 games in particular, he's had a little
Yeah,
bit more of a
yeah.
challenge.
Um, Again, consistency in decision making, making the decisions, going through things. Again, Jason's not happy with his performance, and you know, and Jim Zabrowski keeps working with him on those things, being comfortable and confident. I think again, um, inconsistencies. Uh, Within the offense itself causes a quarterback to be hesitant as well, and he is been hesitant with some of the things, and kind of um, not kind of he stops trusting his training and what he can do, and then all of a sudden it becomes um, plays that we don't want, and things. So and we're not getting those results. So yes, we need to be better there.
His rushing numbers have kind of dipped the past couple of games. Do you think there are reasons for that? Is that by design? Is it just how things have gone?
No, well, I'm sure people have looked and they saw he can be dangerous, and making sure that if they contain him in some ways, that they'll contain us in other ways. So I think he only had 5 rushing attempts, and so we got to again continue to use his legs as a weapon, um, and he's got to have confidence in that as well. So holistically, it's got to get better.
Obviously, this OU team coming in this week is, arguably the best team you'll see all season. what type of performance do you need, especially when you're kind of in the midst of this
Mhm.
rebuilding project to compete with a team like that?
Well, again, we're going to have to play our best football to date. We have to be excited about the opportunity to have number 3 team in the country come in here, an excellent football team, well-coached team, and embrace that and continue to use it as a, you only get 12 of these opportunities a year. And that's one thing, whether you're winning or you're not, that you need to embrace if you're a competitor at this level. And so to take that, to make the right strides as a football team, as individuals, you get a chance to line up and to be evaluated against the best in the country. And, we take it for there and embrace that opportunity to play on national television again and compete in a Big 12 game.
You mentioned inconsistencies that the offense does that affect Jason. Are there any moments in the Texas Tech game that you can point to that showcase that at all?
There's probably plenty of them that we weren't consistent. We ran 19 plays the first half. I think that alone it's just, when you can't get on track, it's not only is it inconsistent, you're looking for, there's no momentum of anything you're still looking at the play sheet to find one that works or one that you think you're going to get to work. And then you're just not on the field enough. And so I guess that's probably one that, just as a general statement, that doesn't really allow us to do what we want to do.
And then you've also gone to Miles in those late game moments ahead of Jalen. Is there a reason for that, as opposed to, having Jalen get some of those reps in the last couple of games?
Yeah. Right now, barring anything, we're going to look at the opportunity to redshirt Jalen. And Jalen's, we've had that discussion a few weeks back. And again, both those guys have competed well, and we looked at it, and I really appreciate and admire the attitude that both of those guys have had through this whole situation. And it's a balancing act, because if whether it be through performance or through injury, that things could always change. But Jalen, and I didn't even realize all that, it wasn't like a full bio on a guy that, I didn't realize he was a blue shirt who came in August in a pandemic year and played a game as a 17-year-old in an offensive line that was kind of being mixed and matched on a weekly basis. He got thrown to the fire. And so to give him a chance to continue to grow, mature, and do all the things that he can do, we looked at things in the best way that at that time, and he embraced that opportunity. He had talked to his support systems around him, and they were already talking about it. And so that's kind of where that's at. It could always change, because he has played in a couple games. And again, Miles has continued to work hard and showed flashes and highly competitive at the end of the game, and gave us at least something to feel decent about on a rather bad day.
And then just, having been, 6 games in, halfway through the season, looking at where Jason is now compared to maybe where you projected him being ahead of South Dakota, I guess, where does he stack up in terms of his progression where you wanted him to be?
Oh, I think it's kind of on the line of the other stuff. I think he was progressing, and I think he's kind of plateaued and had a couple subpar games. It doesn't mean that, that, we just need him to play better and keep pounding away, just like we're asking everyone else. Okay. And I see him doing that. And I know the next, this road's going to get even more challenging as we go along, and as it is for every player.
Hey, Lance, did you learn anything from the last 2 drives on offense? Did any of those guys stand out to you?
I just like the way they all competed. We got a chance to get some guys in there, guys that haven't played much, and I thought Luke Grimm made some plays. I've really Tristan Golightly is a young man who's really taken steps in how he's being used in our program. His maturity on the approach. I could go along with some of those guys in the second old line. A guy like Joey Gilbertson hasn't played much and really was in there. Our son, but there's a couple minutes left in the game and they're playing a lot of people and rushing three but again, the competitiveness and of Miles Kendrick and sparking those guys and getting Amari Pesek-Hickson in the game again and getting him a little bit of work is always been it's always beneficial for us. So it's good and it's good for us to keep the evaluation and competing for positions, but I don't know if all the questions are like, are we ready to make some wholesale changes? Because I can't say that, but we'll continue through that. Some guys may get some opportunities in some type of way. Yeah.
And this is kind of taking a step back, but obviously you hired Rob in the offseason to be the GM, and then Scott Aligo, there was some talk about that hire as well. Can you just describe what their roles are and kind of at this point, kind of what mission number one is for them when you're looking to turn on this program?
Yeah,
at this moment?
I go through our whole recruiting department. Rob really heads up a lot of different things in our evaluation system and recruiting, but also a lot of things in administration with the program. Scott Aligo does a lot of work with our NFL scouts as well as checking the transfer portal. Grant Murray is our director of player personnel and really does a lot of the initial screenings of stuff and as well as our kind of pipeline system of evaluation within our staff. And Grant's been with me a long time and is an excellent evaluator. Probably uncovered or turned over more stones in our time in Buffalo and found us some players that ended up getting NFL opportunities. Greg Schwarzkopf came to us from Army. And there's a lot of our correspondence and things that we do. So really pleased with where we're heading in that. We'll continue to evaluate it. A lot of the stuff comes there. Coaches have areas. We've changed a little bit than what was done here previously. We're recruiting more by areas instead of just pure positions, but the position coach does have the second step within it. Each side of the ball does have a chance to watch things together, and we're looking at things holistically. Rob and Grant get eyes on it as well, and then it goes to me.
Okay, we'll open it up to Zoom. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Lance, I was wanting to know with NIL, just what have you seen from it so far, and what kind of factor do you see that playing down the road?
Well, it's still in its infancy. You hear a lot of things happening. There are some of our players that have received that. Honestly, John, I haven't, I mentioned Rob earlier. Rob has a little bit more of a pulse on some of that than I do. I think our players, at least, to my viewing, have understood that, any and all those opportunities really comes down to really how we do as a program and as well as them individually. But I think you're seeing that it'll be a game changer in a lot of ways. We feel very confident of, what the University of Kansas and the Jayhawk brand will bring to us in these endeavors, our locality to Kansas City and being in the heartland and all those things I think are very promising. But I still think for us, it's in our building process, it's something that'll continue to evolve.
And then have you heard anything from recruits or anybody or your coaches say, has anybody ever brought that up about what they could get?
Not to me right now. I'm sure it's coming. That was, that was kind of an adjustment, when you start talking about cost of attendance, back when that became the hot topic is, I kind of went through it, and instead of talking about your graduation rate or jobs after, or how many players you put in the NFL, or how do you see me being used, or how soon will I play? Then you start getting a few young men that start asking what their monthly check is going to be. So I'm sure that's like we know these, that in the one-time transfer has definitely changed what college athletics is today.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about tight end blocking. What have you seen out of that group in that area?
Again, I could probably use the same answer. A lot of things it's been good at times and it's been not good at times. And I don't think we had our best day on Saturday with that. And that's disappointing, especially coming off an open week. And, you try to simulate, the speed and quickness of game like speed is, you try to make that. And I don't know if we came out and did that on Saturday afternoon and played with that type of way. And a lot of these things, I guess I feel like I say it for everything, and that's why I'm not I'm disappointed for our guys. I'm not disappointed in them, and I think that needs to be really emphasized because they're working, they're being coachable, they're doing those things, but our inconsistencies sometimes, many times, hurts our confidence. And when you're not confident, you don't play fast. And there's times where we just got to let it loose a little bit more and let it rip and play aggressively. And sometimes we get beat on things because we're hesitating, we're stopping, we're doing things, and that can be at different spots. And we're working to alleviate that because I know they want to. Okay. And I've said this more in smaller settings, but I'll say this for the record. This group has been coachable. There's we've had one player leave the program. There's not a lot of, everybody's frustrated in capacity of, and more guys would like to play more. That's natural if you're 1-5 or 5-1. But so all those things we just got to find a way to build on the successes that we have and get this group a little more confident. And then I feel we'll start seeing those things change.
And then what have you seen from Oklahoma's new true freshman starting quarterback, Caleb Williams?
Yeah, he's a really talented young man. I kind of looked at it. To replace a preseason Heisman favorite who's 15-2 as a starter, who's completing 75% of his passes, you got to be pretty confident this guy's pretty good, and he is. And he creates more things with his legs, and he does some things, and he can, during our open week, I had a chance to catch bits and pieces in the end of their Texas game and how well, he played and they played to rally from a deficit. So, he's a special young player.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.